Hi guys, welcome to the AB Auto channel. Today I will be showing you how to replace your brake discs or brake rotors as they're called in the US of A, and also your brake pads. So if I show you here, if I can get it to focus, so you can actually see here I've got plenty of meat left on the pads. The main reason I'm replacing them is because if you can see there's loads of scoring marks in the disc here. So, and what's happening is every time I brake I feel like a juddering through the car. It doesn't do it at low speeds, it just does it at high speeds. So the easiest way I've found to do this is to take the whole caliper off first. Then the best thing to do is hang the caliper up to like the suspension strut spring here, so that it's not putting too much tension on the brake hose, because you don't want to damage that, because you'll just cause brake leaks. So behind the caliper here, if I can get in there, so there's a bolt here that holds the caliper on, and then there's one under here, down here where I'm pointing at. So I'm going to take those bolts off first, and then after that I will show you how to do the rest of it. So what you want is you just want to get yourself a ratchet. I think this is a 1/2 inch ratchet. And then you want to start by taking the caliper bolts off. So first we start off with this one here, and they're going to be on pretty tight. So break that one free, then the one underneath. So to do the one underneath, you want to get your ratchet and your socket. And on mine I have 2 different size bolts holding the caliper on, so I've had to change it to a socket 15. Break that one free. So now you can see the caliper is starting to come free. So just undo these bolts the rest of the way by hand. So on your vehicle, the bolt sizes will be different, but the procedure is pretty much the same on every car. So just getting out this last bolt that's holding the caliper on. So I'm going to have to undo it a bit more. It's being a bit awkward, this one. Right, so it's coming out now. Right, there we go. So once you've got your bolts out, the next thing you do is you want something like an S clip like this. These are absolutely ideal to hold the caliper up to the spring. If you don't have something like this, then you can always use either a coat hanger, a metal wire, anything, but I prefer this method the most. So The caliper will be stuck on a bit because there we go. There we go, that's the caliper off, and it's quite heavy. So what I do is I put the S-hook round like that, and then you just have it like that so it's out the way. On a Ford Puma, it's very easy because there isn't any. Most cars have a little screw here, a little screw that holds the disc on, but on my car, luckily, it just comes off like this. So that's the brake disc off now. Then we just put that to one side. So now what you see here is this is your hub, and then inside here is your wheel bearing inside here. If you're wondering what's these for, so this is your ABS ring, which works with your ABS sensor, which feeds information that the wheel is turning round for your ABS system to work. So a lot of cars nowadays, they don't have the studs in the hub. The studs are actually part of the lug nuts from the wheel. So what I like to do when I've got it down to this stage is I like to get a wire brush. I'll just grab one, and I like to give this mating surface here a very nice clean with the wire brush to get it all nice and clean. So when we put the new disc on, it won't get as much contamination from the hub. So I'm just going to grab a wire brush and do that now. It's just a bit of good housekeeping, just to give it a good brush. It doesn't have to be spotlessly clean, you just want to get remnants of old brake dust off. So you might be wondering, oh God, look at all the corrosion. Luckily this is all surface corrosion, so it's nothing serious. So this is like your knuckle from your hub that connects to the shock absorber. So this is your shock absorber here, and then when it's got the spring on it like this, it's called a strut, and that goes into the knuckle on here, and then this is goes into the knuckle and the hub. So give this a good bit of a clean. If you wanted to get this really clean, you could use a angle grinder with a wire brush on it and get it really spotless, and then you could use some brake cleaner and spray it on and get it really clean. But today we don't need to do that. So these are the brake discs I'll be installing. So these are, I've never used this brand before, so maybe in the comments you could let me know if they're any good. These, I've never used them before, and apparently they have what's called a Beck Tech coating, which means to say that they shouldn't rust, which would be really nice because they always rust brake discs about a month after you've installed them. So that's a nice addition to these. So you get your brake disc like this, Put it down here a minute. And on it goes like that. So the advantages of these are that most brake discs, when you put them on, you have to spray a bit of brake cleaner on this surface to get any residual oil off. Because of the coating on these, you don't have to do that. Don't worry about any dirt that you get on your hands on here or anything like that. It doesn't matter. As long as you give it a clean after you've finished, that's fine. So I'm just gonna double check that they're the correct size. So you put the old one next to it. In fact, I can even put this on like that. And yes, it's the perfect size. So we know that is the correct disc. So a thing I like to do is you get one of your lug nuts. And screw one on here. Like that. This will now align the disc so it's not going to move as you put in the new brake pads on, etc. So that was the easy part. Now I'll show you how you change your brake pads. So this is the bit I don't like as much. So unhook your S-hook or whatever you've done. So what is easy to do is just to rest the caliper on it like this. So you've got this one comes out really easily like that. As you can see, there's plenty of material left on these, but these brake pads were only £10 and they're not very good. As you can see, there's no slit in the centre or anything, and they are the worst brake pads I've ever had in my life. Then you've got the one in the caliper here. So what you can do is get your fingers in, like your thumbs in like that, and what we have to do is we're trying to push it out of the caliper. So it's held in by some springs inside the caliper. The job is easy if you get like a flat-headed screwdriver. And then you push, you can get a bit of leverage inside like that to get it out of the caliper. So there we go, that's the other one out. Okay. Then you get one of your new brake pads like this. And what you want to do is so that your brakes are not squealing whenever you brake, what you want to do is you want to put a little bit of copper grease on the mating surfaces where it meets the caliper. Some brake pads like these, they have this, they already have this padding on, so you don't technically need to put any on there. But you want to put a bit on the ears of your brake pads on here. So I'm going to do that for you now and show you. So we just get some copper grease like that. And you literally want to put just a tiny bit on your ears, on the ears of the pads like that. Just a little bit like that. This will stop them from squealing when you brake. Because otherwise you'll just have squealy brakes and they're very irritating. No one wants that. So you do this side, then you do this side, put a little bit on there, put a little bit on there. Do whatever you do, never ever put copper grease or any lubricants on the actual mating surface of the pads, because that will damage, that will cause you to have inefficient braking. So the same, you do exactly the same but in reverse. So you put this one in first, and then you would push it up till it clips into the caliper. And it's a bit fiddly, this, because you've got to overcome the spring, because what you've got to do is you've got to put, see, that's the caliper piston here, and that spring wants to go into there. Make sure you get your pad the right way around, otherwise it will not fit. So this bit is very, very, very tricky to do, because you have to really squeeze the clips in, and they want a lot of force to get them in. So you've got to push really hard, like that. So now we know that that pad is seated perfectly. Then you do exactly the same with your other pad. So just get it out of its packaging. And then you do the exact same procedure with this one. Bit of copper grease on the ears here and there, a bit on the back here, and then this will just go, get it the right way around, of course, which is that way around. And then this one, if you can't get it to fit in, you have to take this clip off, which makes it easier. So I'm just going to take this clip off. So you undo one side like that, and to get, I'll show you how to get it back on, but it's a bit harder to get it back on. Now this pad slides in the caliper much easier like that, see? Then we put the caliper back on to the rotor. Now then, this bit, it's a bit fiddly. Okay, yes, I've forgotten to show you the vital thing. So what you have to do is, before you put your brake pad in, we have to reset the caliper piston, because at the moment this piston is pushing out too far, so we have to push it back in. So you get a tool called a brake caliper rewind tool, which I'll just go and grab. So you get a brake caliper rewind tool, it looks like this, and then it comes with this backing plate. So what you do is you put this behind like that, then that goes over the back side. Just got to wind it out a bit like that. So this bracket here holds up against there. Just get you. Then you wind this I'm missing another part to this, which I've just realised. Yeah, so at the end of the brake caliper rewind tool, you're supposed to put this at the end. So this goes at the back like that. Like this. Because this goes inside the caliper piston to help push it back in. So you do this until you feel a bit of resistance, like there. Then what you do now is you keep doing this slowly until you push that piston all the way back in, like so. And then it will actually stop once it's reached the max that it goes back. So there, it's stopped now. So that means you've pushed the caliper piston as far back as it'll go. This will now enable you to put the brake pads on and be able to actually get them onto the brake disc. So get your brake pad again. Like so. Yes, I know I haven't greased them up. I'm just showing you how to do this, and then I'll be doing the job. I'll be doing it properly off camera, so don't worry. So now we've got the brake pads in. There's now a nice big gap for it to sit back onto the discs, like so. It's a bit fiddly at first because you've got to get... So there we go. So that's how you replace your pads and discs. So obviously there's just two things now we need to do. Is we need to get this clip back on. So the way I've found is you get one side done first and then you do the other side afterwards. So get it like that. Now then we just need to get this part into that hole there. And this is the horrible part of this job, because you've got to get this clip in, and it's very hard and tedious, because you've got to push this clip in as you're putting that in, and it's a bit hard to do. It's easy. What I do is I push this in and then I just hammer this bit in, that clip into there, until it goes all the way fully in. Then that is how you do the clip. Then it's just a simple case now of putting your brake caliper bolts back in to secure it, and you want to torque them down to around I'd say about 30 Newton meters of torque. You want to torque them in, and that will secure the caliper back on. So now then, another thing that's very important that you do before you go for a drive is, luckily we don't have to bleed the brakes, but because we have rewinded this piston, because we've pushed this caliper piston all the way back in, we will need, what you'll have to do is, when you get in the car, you want to pump. So you want to pump the brake pedal like this a few times until you feel the brake pedal go stiff, because you're wanting to push this caliper piston back out, so that it's actually it's clamping down on the pads to give you braking. If you forget to do that and obviously you're driving down the road and you forgot to do that afterwards, then your brakes will not work and you might die. So just to let you know about that, it's very important that you pump the brake pedal after you've done your brakes. So that's one very important thing that you have to do. But other than that, that's basically, that's how easy it is to change your brakes if you've got discs and pads anyway. My car has drum brakes at the back, so they're a lot different. They're a lot harder because you've got brake shoes and springs in there that you have to do to get the brake shoes out, and it's just a horrible job. Whereas this, I've shown you today how nice and easy it is to do this yourself at home, to save yourself a lot of money, because you're looking at about, even though this has taken me about half an hour to do, you're talking at least hours labour at a garage, and you can just do it yourself and save money. Yes, so that's how to change your brake discs and pads, or rotors in America. And yes, I will be cleaning this off with a bit of brake cleaner, so don't worry about that. So another quick important tip before I go is, if you are installing discs, if you're installing discs and they're not coated like this, it's very important to brake clean all the oil residue off before you start driving again. Otherwise you'll have inefficient brakes. These are the new pads as well, so obviously you'll get 4 in a pack like that. So I'm not going to show you how to do the other side because it's exactly the same procedure and I don't want to bore you with that. So there you have it, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it was useful for you. If you liked it, please give us a like and subscribe. Thanks again. Bye.